What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Savvy, and welcome back to the Savvy Show. And today we have another SCP-001. Man, so after doing the last SCP-001, I believe there was multiple parts. I didn't know that when I was recording it, so I'll probably go into that later. But I just did a little bit more research, and there's like more than just a handful of these SCP-001. I thought there was going to be at least 2 or 3, but there's a lot more than that, and I'm so surprised. So like every time I see SCP-001, I'm intrigued to see what this is about and see if it goes in tandem or like if they correlate with all the other SCP-001s, or they're just their own SCPs in their own right with just the same, namesake with the 001. So today it will be SCP-001 When Day Breaks, and with this one I hope it has close ties with the Scarlet King, because on the thumbnail it literally looked like the Scarlet King, unless it's someone that's related to him. I don't know, but hopefully they have a relation or correlation somehow. That would be kind of cool, because I really love the Scarlet King. It was like one of my first few SCPs I reacted to, and I just thought his concept and like what he's about is so awesome without even seeing him. So yeah, man, I hope this is a good one. But with that being said, if you guys enjoy my reactions and you guys want to see more, please remember to smash the like button. It really helps the channel grow, and it brings more exposure to myself and the series I do cover. And like always, each video that I react to, the original video will be in the description below. Feel free to check out the original if you like. And also remember, smash the sub button as well. Join the family. We're pretty small right now, but we're growing every day. I'd love to have you on the train. So let's have a good time together. Hop on in. And remember to turn on post notifications when you know exactly when I'm dropping heat, because most of the time I upload multiple uploads a day, so you don't want to miss out on a dose. So with that all out the way, let's get this show started. Alrighty, SCP-001 When Day Breaks.
The exact identity of SCP-001 has not been confirmed due to the sheer number of possibilities for its origin. Numerous SCP researchers have tried their hand at categorizing and describing SCP-001 in the most accurate way possible. However, there are still many cases and many stories that could apply to SCP-001. When Day Breaks is a tale that was located in the journal of a past Oracle. It is believed this tale, if true, was passed on to the Oracle by an unknown source from the future. How exactly this information was passed on is still to be determined. Whether this is a warning to change our future is still a matter to be determined.
So this is like a story. So the title When Day Breaks, I figured it would be like a event in history, but like it seems like that is like a story about something that is inevitable that will happen whenever the day breaks. So that's an interesting concept. Let's see what they do with it, but I'm gonna skip this ad.
Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today we bring you SCP-001, an XK class end-of-the-world scenario.
So it looks like the sun. I just figured that was like part of the story, but is it actually like a sun or something? So that'd be kind of cool, but like, what?
It is uncertain whether the details of this possible future event are true or false. However, that is up to the viewer.
Hold on, let me rewind a little bit, guys.
A-class to SCP Exposed. Today we bring you SCP-001, an XK class end-of-the-world scenario.
XK class? I'm sorry, guys. You know I'm pretty noobish with the terminology, but XK class? Please let me know in the comment section below if you guys know what that means, because I doubt they're going to, like, talk about it in this. That's why I had to rewind it, if you guys know what it means.
It is uncertain whether the details of this possible future event are true or false. However, that is up to the viewer to decide. SCP-001's current classification is a polyon, meaning there is no hope of containment. SCP-001 is the designation given to the Sun after an event at unknown date resulting.
Okay, I never heard that terminology again. A polygon? It's impossible to contain. I wouldn't think it would be that crazy if we just didn't have an episode where they literally contained a god. So this is even harder to contain than an actual god. That is just mind-blowing.
Resulted in 6.8 billion casualties within the first 24 hours. The SCP-001 effect does not seem to result from exposure to ultraviolet rays, but rather light in the visual spectrum. The effect is similarly present in moonlight. Upon contact with visible light produced by the sun, living organisms liquefy. Upon contact with visible light produced by the sun, living organisms liquefy at the point of contact, with the
Oh my
event
God.
spreading until the entire organism is converted. Visually, this is reminiscent of melting wax. The time this takes is largely dependent on the level of exposure and size of the organism. Despite this restructuring, at no point do living organisms perish. Upon completion, these organisms, SCP-001-A, take on a gelatinous consistency.
Oh my God.
Plants typically remain physically unstable, yet are still capable of photosynthesis and still produce oxygen. Organisms capable of flight lose the capability to do so, and the bird population has reduced significantly due to death by impact. Other animals also react in the same way as humans when subjected to light. Humans, once morphed into SCP-001-A, retain their sentience, memories, and mobility, but are not the same as they once were.
That's horrible. I'd rather just turn into a monster and forget my humanity than to know what I was beforehand, before this SCP came to my life. Like, yo, that is wild. You're a blob of gunk. Literally looking like the monster from the Blob back in the 90s. Like, yo. Bro, this is a deadly SCP. What the hell?
Due to their composition, instances of SCP-001-A that make contact with one another may combine and blend at the molecular level. This does not seem to cause any pain or distress to the instances,
Fusion.
though the resulting bulk can inhibit movement. Since the SCP-001 event, most instances have congregated into such collectives, which seem to possess no maximum volume.
Oh my
They
God.
move by dragging themselves across the ground or by separating themselves into smaller, faster organisms. Due to its nature, SCP-001 cannot be contained. Personnel are encouraged to attempt to reach Site-19, the biggest secure facility of the Foundation.
Well, due to his nature, it makes sense because it's like a big-ass sun. How can you contain that? How can you bring it into the facility, let alone, like, you know, a god that's like a smaller size that you could like manipulate through rituals? So that makes sense. But I want to know how often this sun comes to Earth and does this. Like, is it like once in a millennia, or is it like once when day breaks? Like, is it part of the story? And they're talking about when daybreak happens, this is what's going to happen. Because if that makes sense, because if that's the case in this alternate universe, that would make sense. Because if it was like every day, just like that was the sun, like that would be kind of weird. So it's not as crazy because this probably didn't happen yet, because this is a story leading up to what will happen. If I'm right, but that's what I'm gathering so far.
By any means at their disposal. Personnel with knowledge as to the whereabouts of the O5 Council are to relay this information to the administrator. Survivors attempting to travel outdoors must fully cover their bodies in protective clothing, preferably several layers. Travel by foot should be limited as much as possible. Cities and man-made structures in general provide the greatest protection. Travel by air is preferable above all other methods.
Really?
Personnel exposed to SCP-001 are to be considered lost. Compromised personnel are to be abandoned. Euthanization is not to be attempted.
Damn.
Collective instances of SCP
One little touch, one little exposure, you're done. Forget your family, forget everyone. You're out of here. No strike system for you.
SCP-001-A that are of formidable size are to be avoided at all costs. Instances that have been subjected to freezing temperatures have proven immobile. Heat and electricity work as well, though they are less effective. Testing has revealed that SCP-001-A is relatively safe to consume. This is only to be considered as a last resort in the absence of other options.
What?
As SCP-001-A may reconstitute within the digestive system, only small portions should be consumed at a time to prevent blockage. Currently, personnel stationed at Site-19 are pursuing the possibility of off-world colonization. Shuttles must be constructed to not allow light to penetrate the interior. This research, however, is still at the early stages of development. The administrator has sent out the following message to anyone still left alive out there. To those of you with families or, God forbid, children, I'm deeply, deeply sorry. You must push on. Do not let their deaths be in vain. We do still have time.
They're just assuming that they're dead. So they're really not trying to think of a cure. Like, because they already stated, like, these beings are not dead. At all. They still have their sanity. So there could be a way to change them back, but they're alluding to it's so bad, it's so terrible that you should just consider them dead and move on. And this is the SCP Foundation telling everyone this. That is pretty crazy.
Humanity may still have a future. Come to Site-19. We need all the hands we can get.
Oh my
God. Learn to embrace the darkness, friends. Fear the light. The Administrator. As of present, no one understands why or how SCP-001 occurred. It could be a sort of nuclear reaction, or a predisposed event, or some anomalous action. But whatever the case, it has resulted in the termination of 95% of all life on Earth. There is no hope to remain on this planet. Off-world.
95%. 95%. So only 5% of the world's population. Hands down, one of the most broken SCPs. Are you kidding me? And we've seen gods and everything so far. Oh my, wow.
Habitation is the only option. Dr. Aigata and her partner, Ari, were stranded at Site-46, along with other members of their crew. Dr. Aigata left several recordings detailing their stay in the form of video logs. The following is her first log.
They've just been sitting out there this entire time, calling out to us, begging for us to come outside. The noise drew in more of them. There's this one mass that I'm sure must have a few dozen people, and God knows how many animals rolling around inside it. Screams and bleats and screeches and howls nonstop. Louder than all hell. They're not going to leave so long as they know we're down here. We managed to talk one of the D-class members into going out, see if he couldn't draw them away. He was surprisingly okay with the plan. All he asked for was a gun. I think he was ready to die, though. He just stepped out and didn't even put up a fight.
Yeah, what is he going to do with the gun?
He became one of them. The director has a plan. There's an escape tunnel hidden in his office. A tram under the site will take us to a safe house. We should be able to start towards Site-19 from there.
For several weeks, there were no more logs. But then, one more was made, showing Dr. Aigata in clear distress, with bloodstains on her chest.
Is that hers?
She had something in her hand, then held it up for the camera to see.
A finger.
It was a dismembered finger with a single wedding ring on it.
They took him. Ari, he's gone. The tunnel flowed in through the ceiling, dragging them into the light and ripping off their clothes.
Hey, Junior. Like, damn. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, this guy, she's freaking out or whatever, but like, god damn, hurry up. Say what you gotta say. Like, yo.
Suddenly, Dr. Aigata stopped talking as a voice spoke out through her walkie-talkie.
Oh my god.
Katie? The voice said. Dr. Aigata froze, then whispered,
Ari, is that you? Where are you? Why can't I get back inside? Are you there?
Dr. Aigata began to cry as she realized this wasn't Ari at all, but a mere remnant of him.
Babe, it's all right. I'm all right. Really. It's a bright, sunny day, and we're just wasting away down there.
Like, what? Remnants? How is that even possible? Does this SCP have even more powers than they didn't explain yet? Excuse me. What the heck?
Dr. Aigata sobbed and turned off the walkie-talkie. Ari's wet, slimy voice cut off. For many days, there was still no update to Dr. Aigata's log. But then, finally, Aigata made one last recording, which continued as follows.
On the recording, Aigata could be seen seated in her bunker. The metal door visible in the background was jolting and shaking like crazy. Voices emerged from behind the door, and one could be distinguished as Ari's. I know it's not him,
said Dr. Aigata in a panic.
It's not him. It sounds like him, but it's not. They're just trying to get me out, but I won't fall for their tricks.
That's crazy.
I won't, even if I want to be with him so badly.
Suddenly, a loud crash ensued, and the door of the bunker collapsed. The blob of organisms appeared in its doorway, and they lunged at Dr. Aigata.
Wow, so they're like zombies. Or this SCP is controlling them to get this one chick because they want to turn her. Because they were like saying they have their sanity. So if they do, why would they want to bring more people to a fate that they're already, dealing with? Kind of messed up when you think about it. So I'm assuming this SCP is kind of controlling them to an extent.
The camera recording ended instantaneously with the last frame image of Dr. Aigata leaning back with the blob in front of her. When zoomed in, a hand missing a single finger, the ring finger, could be discerned.
Awesome.
After this incident, it was presumed Dr. Igata was deceased or turned. This seemed to be confirmed once an update was made to Dr. Igata's logs. This was not a video recording, but instead a written poem. Foundation personnel theorized this was an entry made by Dr. Igata's turned body. Saffron skies raise the blazing sun. A chance encounter. Awkward displays. One day, my love, we be as one. Now you lie here, the life in you gone. In the dark outside of her rays, crimson skies bear the torch, our sun. Today, my love, we'll be as one. This was the end of the journal owned by the Oracle. No more information was disclosed. It is uncertain whether the presumed survivors of the future managed to develop a plan of escape. Foundation personnel have no idea how this information was passed back into the past, and if it even was for that matter. This whole case could be made up by the Oracle, or it could be 100% true and the fate of humanity could be doomed. O5 personnel recommend the Foundation prepare anyway, should a case of SCP-001 occur. What did you guys think of that SCP case?
This was insane, and I want to hear that one more time towards the end. Hold on.
Foundation personnel have no idea how this information was passed back into the past, and if it even was for that matter. This whole case could be made up by the Oracle. In the dark outside of her rays, crimson skies bear the torch, our sun. Today, my love, we'll be as one. This was the end of the journal owned by the Oracle. No more information was
The Oracle? The Oracle? Who's the Oracle?
disclosed. It is uncertain whether the presumed survivors of the future managed to develop a plan of escape.
Holy shit.
Foundation personnel have no idea how this information was passed back into the past.
Okay, that makes sense. So it didn't happen yet. This is like from, the near future or whatever time. So it's not happening day to day. It's like something that will just happen one time, because how bad it is, like 95% of the world's gone, like humanity. Yo, this is crazy. Hope day breaks never happens.
And if it even was for that matter. This whole case could be made up by the Oracle, or it could be 100% true, and the fate of humanity could be doomed.
It's definitely true.
O5 personnel recommend the Foundation prepare anyway, should a case of SCP-001 occur. What did you guys think of that?
That was a great one. This is super. If it is true, it's the strongest SCP. I'm just saying. It is the strongest SCP. If this is an actual thing, like it's not made up, the Oracle, is not capping in this book. I don't know why you write a whole book just to cap, but I'm assuming it's true. So, yo, how are you going to handle, what SCP can handle this, bruh? Like, come on. This is crazy. This is really crazy. So, I'm glad that we got another dope 001 SCP. This was really interesting. I like this alongside with the Scarlet King out of the 001 SCPs that I covered so far. These are awesome. These are really awesome. If you guys enjoyed it too, please remember to smash that like button. Also smash the sub button as well too. Join the family if you want to, tag along with the kid. Have a good time with us. And also remember to turn on post notifications as well too, so you don't miss an upload. And unfortunately, this concludes the show. However, I'll catch you guys on the next one. With